Welcome to Sleepless Minds, where thoughts never rest. Everyone sees. Few truly look. Even fewer understand. Which one are you? Like and subscribe, or always wonder what you've missed. Sigmund Freud, the architect of the unconscious mind. In the grand theatre of human thought, few figures have cast a shadow as long or as controversial as Sigmund Freud. His name resonates far beyond the clinical walls of psychology, echoing in the realms of art, literature, film, and everyday conversation. Freud was a pioneer, a storyteller, and a relentless explorer of the human psyche who dared to journey deep into the hidden recesses of the mind. Today, we celebrate his groundbreaking theories, real-life examples of his influence, and the enduring legacy that continues to shape our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The early life of a revolutionary. Born on May 6, 1856, in Freiburg, in the Austrian Empire, modern-day Czech Republic, Freud's early life was a tapestry of personal experiences and intellectual promise. Raised in Vienna from the age of 4, he grew up in a city steeped in cultural richness and intellectual ferment. His father, Jacob, was a successful wool merchant, and his mother, Amalia, a nurturing presence whose influence would later echo in Freud's theories on early childhood and the complexities of parental relationships. Freud's brilliance shone early. Excelling in both languages and sciences, he quickly distinguished himself academically. By the age of 17, he had embarked on his journey at the University of Vienna, where he initially pursued medicine. However, his true passion lay not in the physical ailments of the body, but in the mysterious labyrinth of the Minder passion, ignited by his exposure to neurology and the pioneering work of French neurologist Jean-Martin Charcot. Charcot's studies on hysteria and the use of hypnosis to treat psychological disorders planted the seeds of what would become Freud's lifelong quest to understand the unconscious forces that drive human behavior. This early exposure to the idea that our mental life might harbor secrets beyond our conscious grasp set Freud on a path that would eventually transform the entire field of psychology. The birth of psychoanalysis, a new way of healing. Freud's collaboration with Dr. Joseph Breuer marked the beginning of a radical new approach to mental health. In treating a patient known as Anna O., Breuer discovered that encouraging her to speak freely about her traumatic experiences seemed to alleviate her debilitating symptoms. This talking cure was the precursor to what Freud would develop into Psychoanalysis, a method that aimed to uncover the hidden, repressed memories and desires lying dormant in the unconscious mind. Psychoanalysis was more than a treatment. It was a revolutionary way to understand human behavior. Freud believed that the symptoms of mental distress were manifestations of unresolved internal conflicts. To navigate these complexities, he introduced several techniques that have since become foundational in psychological practice. Free association. In this technique, patients are encouraged to verbalize any thoughts that come to mind, regardless of how trivial or nonsensical they may seem. Freud argued that this stream of consciousness would eventually reveal the underlying patterns of repressed desires. Dream analysis. Freud famously called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. He posited that the dreams we experience are rich, with symbolism. Each element of the dream has a hidden, often repressed, meaning. Through careful interpretation, he believed one could decode the latent content of dreams to unlock deeper truths about a person's psyche. Transference. During therapy, patients often project feelings from their past, particularly from early familial relationships, onto their therapist. This process, known as transference, allowed Freud to observe how unresolved conflicts from childhood could resurface in the therapeutic relationship. Defense mechanisms. Freud introduced the idea that the mind employs various defense mechanisms to shield itself from anxiety. Mechanisms such as repression, pushing distressing memories out of conscious awareness, denial, refusing to acknowledge reality, and projection, attributing one's own undesirable feelings to others, became key concepts in understanding human behavior. Through psychoanalysis, Freud challenged prevailing notions that mental illness was the result of moral failings, or even supernatural forces. Instead, he argued that the origins of neuroses lay in the unseen battles between various parts of our psyche, an idea that was as liberating as it was controversial. The structure of the mind. Id, ego, and superego. At the heart of Freud's theory of personality is the dynamic interplay between three distinct components of the mind: the id, the ego, and the superego. This model was his attempt to map the complexities of human behavior and internal conflict. The id, the primal engine. Imagine the id as the wild, untamed part of the Minder reservoir of primal urges and instinctual drives. Operating on the pleasure principle, the id seeks immediate gratification, demanding satisfaction regardless of consequences. It is the force behind our most basic desire, hunger, thirst, sexuality, and aggression. The id is not concerned with morality, social appropriateness, or long-term planning. It simply seeks to satisfy its own needs. The ego, the mediator. In contrast to the unbridled id, the ego is the rational part of our psyche. It develops as we mature and begin to interact with the external world. Guided by the reality principle, the ego strives to balance the impulsive demands of the id with the constraints and expectations of society. It is the part of us that makes decisions, plans for the future, and negotiates between the inner world of desires and the outer world of reality. The superego, the moral conscience. The superego represents the internalized moral standards and ideals we acquire from our parents and society. It acts as our inner critic or conscience, evaluating our actions against the standards of right and wrong. When we deviate from these internalized rules, the superego triggers feelings of guilt, shame, or inadequacy. It is this interplay between the raw impulses of the id, the rational moderation of the ego, and the moral imperatives of the superego that Freud believed underpins much of our behavior and emotional life. Dreams, windows to the unconscious world. Freud's fascination with dreams was not merely academic. It was born of the belief that dreams hold the keys to understanding the unconscious mind. In his seminal work, The Interpretation of Dreams, 1899, he argued that dreams are more than random neural firings. They are meaningful, symbolic expressions of repressed desires and internal conflicts. Each dream, according to Freud, consists of two layers. Manifest content. This is the literal storyline of the dream, the images, events, and characters as we remember them upon waking. Latent content. Beneath the surface lies the latent content, the hidden, symbolic meaning that represents unconscious wishes or unresolved conflicts. Consider a dream where an individual finds themselves lost in an unfamiliar city. On the surface, this might simply be a narrative about disorientation. However, Freud might interpret the latent content as a manifestation of the dreamer's feelings of being lost in life, or a symbolic expression of inner turmoil and unfulfilled desires. Through techniques such as free association, where the dreamer explores every detail of the dream, the therapist and patient together might uncover long-buried emotions and conflicts. The impact of Freud's dream analysis has been profound, influencing not only clinical psychology, but also the realms of literature and art. Many writers and filmmakers have drawn inspiration from his ideas, using symbolic imagery and narrative twists to explore the complexities of the human mind. The psychosexual stages of development, a journey through childhood. Freud believed that the foundation of adult personality is laid during childhood through a series of psychosexual stages. Each stage is characterized by the focus on a different erogenous zone, and unresolved conflicts during any of these stages can have lasting effects on personality. Oral stage, 0 to 1 year. In the oral stage, an infant's primary source of pleasure is through the mouth-sucking, biting, and exploring with their tongue. Freud argued that experiences during this stage could have a lasting impact. For instance, an individual who is fixated in the oral stage might develop habits such as smoking, overeating, or even nail-biting later in life. Such behaviors are seen as attempts to recapture the comfort and security of early oral stimulation. Anal stage, 1 to 3 years. As children transition to the anal stage, the focus shifts from the mouth to the control of bowel movements. Freud suggested that the way a child is toilet trained can have significant implications for personality development. A strict, punitive approach may lead to what Freud called an anal retentive personality characterized by orderliness, meticulousness, and stubbornness. Conversely, overly lenient toilet training might result in an anal expulsive personality, marked by disorganization, defiance, and a lack of self-control. Phallic stage, 3 to 6 years. During the phallic stage, children become acutely aware of their own bodies and the differences between the sexes. It is in this stage that Freud controversially introduced the concepts of the Oedipus complex for boys and the Electra complex for girls. According to his theory, boys develop unconscious desires for their mothers and perceive their fathers as rivals, while girls experience similar conflicts regarding their fathers. Although these theories have been widely criticized and refined over time, they underscore Freud's belief in the critical role of early familial relationships in shaping our inner lives. Latency stage, 6 to 12 years. Following the tumultuous phallic stage, children enter a period of relative calm known as the latency stage. Sexual impulses recede as children focus on developing social skills, engaging in school activities, and forming friendships. This stage is marked by learning, exploration, and the consolidation of the skills that will later contribute to a balanced personality. Genital stage, 12 plus years. Finally, during the genital stage, adolescents begin to reawaken their sexual interests, but now with a more mature perspective. Freud believed that if the earlier stages had been navigated successfully, the individual would emerge with a well-rounded personality capable of forming healthy, intimate relationships. The genital stage symbolizes the culmination of psychological development, where the complexities of desire, morality, and identity converge. Real-life examples and applications of Freud's theories. To truly appreciate Freud's legacy, it helps to see how his theories manifest in everyday life. Imagine a modern-day individual facing anxiety in social situations. While contemporary science might explain this in terms of neurochemistry or genetics, Freud would invite us to consider deeper roots, perhaps unresolved conflicts from early childhood or repressed feelings of inadequacy. Through psychoanalysis, this person might explore how a critical parental figure contributed to a persistent fear of judgment, thus opening the door to healing. Consider another example, a person plagued by recurring dreams of falling. On the surface, these dreams might be dismissed as the random firing of neurons during REM sleep. Yet, under a Freudian lens, they could symbolize a deep-seated fear of failure or loss of control. The act of falling in the dream might be interpreted as the unconscious mind's metaphor for a life perceived as precarious. By exploring these dreams through free association, the individual could begin to untangle the web of emotions and experiences that fuel their anxiety. Freud's ideas have also been applied in clinical settings to help individuals better understand their behaviors and emotions. In therapy sessions, patients recount childhood memories, dreams, and seemingly insignificant moments that, when pieced together, reveal a complex narrative of their inner life. These therapeutic journeys underscore Freud's belief that even the most puzzling behaviors have roots in our early experience Caesar perspective that continues to influence modern therapeutic practices. Freud's enduring influence on modern psychology. While many of Freud's theories have been challenged and refined over the years, his impact on modern psychology is undeniable. His work paved the way for a more nuanced understanding of the human mind, moved from observable behaviors to the exploration of unseen internal dynamics. Today, Freud's ideas form the bedrock of several therapeutic approaches and have stimulated decades of research into the nature of consciousness, memory, and emotion. Modern forms of psychotherapy, such as psychodynamic therapy, draw heavily on Freudian concepts. The idea that unconscious processes influence behavior is now a fundamental principle in psychology. Even cognitive behavioral therapies, CBT, have integrated the notion that early experiences shape thought patterns, albeit with a different focus on modifying irrational beliefs. Moreover, the concept of defense mechanisms has been embraced and expanded by contemporary researchers. Today, psychologists acknowledge a broad spectrum of coping strategies that individuals use to navigate stress, further validating Freud's insight into the human need for self-protection. Although some of Freud's specific ideas, like the psychosexual stage, may no longer be at the forefront of psychological theory, the overarching framework of internal conflict and defense remains a vital component of understanding human behavior. Freud's influence is also evident in the fields of neuroscience and evolutionary psychology. Modern studies into brain function often echo Freud's early theories about the interplay between emotion and rational thought. While the language and methods have evolved, the central question remains: What motivates our behavior, and how much of it is governed by forces beyond our immediate awareness? Comparing Freud with his contemporaries, Jung, Adler, and the evolution of thought. No discussion of Freud's work would be complete without considering the contributions of his contemporaries and collaborators, most notably Carl Jung and Alfred Adler. Both men were initially part of Freud's inner circle, but eventually diverged in their theories, leading to new schools of thought that have enriched our understanding of the human psyche. Carl Jung. The depths of the collective unconscious. Carl Jung, once a devoted follower of Freud, eventually broke away to forge his own path in psychology. While Freud focused primarily on personal unconscious conflicts and repressed sexual desires, Jung expanded the exploration to include the collective unconscious, a repository of shared symbols, archetypes, and myths inherited from our ancestors. Jung believed that the unconscious was not merely a storage space for repressed experiences, but a vast, interconnected network of memories and symbols shared by all human beings. His ideas gave birth to concepts such as the persona, the social mask we wear, and the shadow, the hidden, often darker aspects of our personality. Jung's work has had a profound impact on fields as diverse as literature, art, and spirituality, inspiring a generation of thinkers to explore the symbolic dimensions of the human experience. Alfred Adler. The drive for superiority and community. Another influential figure who began his career alongside Freud was Alfred Adler. Adler diverged from Freud by emphasizing the importance of social interest and the drive for superiority. He believed that feelings of inferiority, rather than unconscious sexual impulses, were the primary motivators of human behavior. Adler's theory suggested that people strive to overcome inherent feelings of inadequacy by seeking significance and success, often through establishing connections within their communities. Adler's focus on the individual's social context and their striving for superiority added a new dimension to the understanding of personality. His work laid the groundwork for later theories in humanistic and existential psychology, emphasizing the role of personal growth, community, and the intrinsic desire to overcome personal limitations. The synthesis of perspectives. While Freud, Jung, and Adler each offered distinct perspectives on the human psyche, their collective contributions have enriched psychological thought. Modern psychology often synthesizes these ideas, acknowledging that the human mind is complex and influenced by a blend of internal drives, collective symbols, and social interactions. This pluralistic approach to understanding human behavior reflects the legacy of Freud's initial challenge to look beneath the surface, opening the door for new interpretations and innovations. Freud's impact on literature, film, and culture. Freud's ideas have transcended the boundaries of clinical psychology and permeated every facet of cultural expression. His theories have inspired writers, filmmakers, and artists to explore the mysteries of the human condition, leading to works that are both profoundly introspective and widely influential. Literature and art. The symbolic revolution. In literature, the Freudian perspective has led to a rich tradition of exploring the inner lives of characters. Writers have used symbolic imagery, dreams, slips of the tongue, and hidden desires to hint at the unseen forces driving their characters' actions. The idea of the Freudian slip, for instance, has become a literary device used to reveal a character's true thoughts or subconscious conflicts. From the intricate narratives of James Joyce to the surreal imagery of Franz Kafka, the legacy of Freud's work is evident in the way writers examine the chasms between appearance and reality. Visual artists, too, have found fertile ground in Freudian concepts. The exploration of the unconscious, the use of dreamlike symbolism, and the depiction of internal conflict have all become recurring themes in modern art. Surrealist painters like Salvador Dalí and René Magritte created works that invite viewers to question reality and peer into the symbolic layers beneath the surface. Their art, inspired by the depths of Freudian theory, challenges us to confront the complexity of our inner worlds. Film and the psychological thriller. The influence of Freud's theories on cinema is equally profound. Films such as Inception and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind delve into the labyrinth of the human mind, exploring dreams, memories, and the hidden impulses that govern our behavior. In these films, the narrative itself becomes a journey through the psyche, a journey that echoes Freud's own explorations of the unconscious. Psychological thrillers and dramas often borrow from Freudian ideas, using motifs like repressed memories, inner demons, and the struggle between desire and social constraint. The archetype of the tormented genius, for instance, can often be traced back to Freudian narratives of internal conflict and unresolved childhood trauma. The rich tapestry of Freudian theory continues to provide storytellers with a powerful framework for exploring the depths of human emotion and behavior. Everyday language and popular culture. Even in everyday conversation, Freud's legacy is unmistakable. Phrases like Freudian slip have entered common parlance, a testament to how deeply his work has permeated cultural consciousness. People casually refer to moments of unintentional self-revelation as slips of the tongue's small windows into the vast, unseen inner world that Freud so meticulously described. The idea that our behavior might be influenced by hidden, unconscious forces has also sparked debates about free will, personal responsibility, and the nature of identity. These discussions, whether in academic circles or casual debates at coffee shops, trace their roots back to Freud's pioneering insights into the human mind. Real-world applications, therapy, society, and self-discovery. Freud's theories are not confined to dusty textbooks. They live on in the practices of modern therapy and everyday self-reflection. Many contemporary therapists integrate aspects of psychoanalytic thought into their work, encouraging clients to explore childhood memories, recurring dreams, and the emotional patterns that shape their lives. This introspective approach can help individuals gain clarity about their behaviors, relationships, and emotional struggles. In a world where stress and anxiety are ever present, Freud's emphasis on understanding the root causes of our internal conflicts offers a roadmap to healing. By acknowledging that our present struggles may be tied to unresolved experiences from the past, individuals can begin to dismantle long-held defenses and move toward greater self-acceptance and personal growth. Furthermore, educational programs and public discussions around mental health often draw on Freudian ideas to explain why we sometimes feel inexplicable anxiety, why certain habits persist, and how early experiences shape our interpersonal relationships. Freud's work invites us to explore the hidden dimensions of our lives and consider that even the smallest actions may be reflections of a much larger, intricate psychological narrative. A legacy of curiosity and controversy. It is impossible to discuss Freud without acknowledging the controversies that have followed him. His theories, particularly those concerning sexuality in childhood, were revolutionary and often scandalous in their time. Critics have long questioned the scientific validity of some of his ideas, arguing that many were based on limited case studies and subjective interpretations. Despite these critiques, Freud's contributions have spurred generations of researchers and practitioners to delve deeper into the mysteries of the mind. In many ways, Freud's legacy is defined by his willingness to ask uncomfortable questions. He challenged the status quo, urging society to confront aspects of human behavior that had long been relegated to the shadows. His work opened up a space for discussions about mental health, personal identity, and the often unspoken conflicts that define our lives. Whether one views him as a genius or as a flawed thinker, there is no denying that Freud's ideas have irrevocably altered the way we understand ourselves. Bridging the past and the future. As we look to the future of psychology and human understanding, Freud's influence remains a guiding light. His theories, while revised and debated, continue to inspire new research into the neural underpinnings of behavior, the evolution of consciousness, and the intricate interplay between memory and identity. Today's advancements in neuroimaging and cognitive science offer fresh perspectives on many of Freud's questions, confirming that the quest to understand the human mind is as vibrant and essential as ever. Freud once said that being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise in self-improvement. His call to introspection, his challenge to face the uncomfortable truths lurking beneath our surface, continues to resonate. In a world that often values external achievements over inner awareness, Freud's work reminds us of the importance of understanding our inner lives, the dreams, desires, fears, and memories that shape who we are. Final reflections. The unending journey into the mind. In reflecting on the life and work of Sigmund Freud, we are reminded that the human mind is a labyrinth, filled with hidden corridors, secret chambers, and long-forgotten relics of our past. Freud's exploration of the unconscious was not a definitive map, but rather an invitation to journey inward to acknowledge that beneath every thought, every action, lies a deeper story waiting to be told. His theories, rich with metaphor and steeped in mystery, have left an indelible mark on the fields of psychology, art, literature, and popular culture. They remind us that the path to self-understanding is not straightforward, but is filled with twists, turns, and moments of revelation. Freud's legacy is one of relentless curiosity, a quest to explore the vast, uncharted territories of the human mind. Whether you are a student of psychology, a lover of art, or simply someone who is curious about what makes us human, Freud's work offers a profound perspective on the intricate dance between our conscious selves and the hidden forces that shape our lives. His ideas continue to challenge us to look beyond the obvious, to question what lies beneath the surface, and to embrace the complexity of our inner worlds. As you reflect on Freud's contributions, consider the ways in which your own experiences, dreams, and hidden desires might be interwoven into the tapestry of your identity. In doing so, you join a long line of seekers, those who have dared to explore the depths of their own minds and, in the process, have uncovered the beauty and complexity of what it means to be human. In conclusion, Sigmund Freud's legacy is not merely confined to academic discourse or clinical practice. It is a living, breathing testament to the power of inquiry, introspection, and the endless quest to understand the self. His work invites us all to embark on a journey into the labyrinth of the mind, to listen to the subtle whispers of our inner voices, and to find meaning in the seemingly random dreams and slips of everyday life. May this exploration inspire you to look deeper, think critically, and appreciate the intricate symphony of thoughts that make you who you are. This narrative, rich with historical context, real-life examples, comparisons to other psychological pioneers, and reflections on cultural impact, exceeds 20,000 characters. It is designed to be engaging and easy to follow when read aloud, capturing the essence of Freud's revolutionary contributions to the human understanding of the mind.